Got a new challenge coming in the new year, because at the moment, as most of you know that follow Fiona, she's got her own challenge going on regarding the painting a flower, and that was my little attempt yesterday. It's so me, isn't it? That is just, how can I turn a flower and make it my rabbit style? But somehow I've achieved it. And I still manage, even though Fiona talks long and hard about all the meticulous carefulness of watercolour, I managed to blow that out of the water and do it my own way. So I thought I'd leave it for Fiona's to be running at the moment, because I think that's only fair, and then I shall start a new challenge in the new year for you guys, and we'll get a basket of goodies together and get the excitement drumming again. But I'll come up with something equally easy and fun. I have got another little toilet roll challenge that I think I might do, but yeah, I'll keep you in suspense for that. Hi Diane. So I have been doing lots of work in Magical Palace and in the Fairy Chic Club and on journal work, and if you would like to join or see what that's all about, there's a link at the top of the feed, or the bottom depending on where you're watching it, to the club to go over and have a look. We'd love to have you. It's proving very popular, and there's lots of discounts in the club for all sorts of products, not just Fairy Chic, although Fairy Chic products offer a massive up to 40% if you are in the Magical Palace tier. But there are also offers on other products such as Vintage with Grace, Primer, and many other products that you will have to just pop over and see what it's all about. Plus you get all these extra tutorials behind the scenes, and one of the tutorials I've done is how to make, and I have literally gutted a book to make this lovely journal, and it's been covered very neatly, and there's a tutorial in there, and that's my first page there. And this is, I had a go at it yesterday, and there is a recording of it, so that will be going up into the club for you. But this picture is actually, hi Shaz, hi Tanya, this is actually a picture of me, and I've printed it out as a photograph and then I've painted it. So we're going to be doing a little bit of that today, not a face, but I'll show you in a minute, because it's a really good way of actually starting off a picture, even if you've got no sort of particular art skills. You can use the picture as your guidelines. Have you got your label? Thank you, Anna. And then it's all about writing and doodles and things like this. So we're going to be doing this. Now, most of this book, this is, for me, this is a personal journal that I'm going to keep. There's going to be lots of work going into it and lots of special memories going into it, good and bad, and I'm going to be brutally honest, and some of those I will share with you and some of those I won't. It's a book for me to keep my memories in and go back, and I thought it'd be nice for most of it to be in black and white to go with the theme, but occasionally, like obviously there've been massive events in my life, like my marriage, and that might be, I might decide to put that one in colour. And this one, which I actually did specifically for this journal, is going in here, and this page is going to be about me and my granddad, because it reminds me so much of the walks that we used to have in the countryside, looking at all the wildflowers. So there'll be more going on this. This isn't going to be the finished point, but this, I knew that I was going to do that. That's why I chose these flowers, because I wanted to have a memory to him. So it's going to be full of all sorts of things. I've also created another book, and there's a tutorial to this as well. This is a completely different style. This is made out of envelopes, and I've steampunked it. And I thought if I get fed up of being sentimental, I can put some funky ones in here, funky colour ones in here. So I thought it was good to have a bit of both, so I can switch between the two. So I'm going to put my flowers to one side because I don't want to wreck them today, and I have done a bit of prep for today. So these pages are all very random. I've stitched them together. They're made out of different types of paper, magazines and so on. So what I've done is I've prepped this with Fairy Chic gesso. So both sheets have had, I wanted this to be a double spread. Both sheets have had gesso, and basically I put all the gesso on and left it all kind of patchy, and then I stuck the pages together and then pulled them apart. So it's left, I don't know how much you can see, perhaps not a lot, but yeah, you can see a bit of it. It's left some texture, so then I dried it off. And then the bit in the middle, I've drawn around a circle, and it's going to be a moon. And I've used Fairy Chic textured paste for that, and I had to do that overnight because it takes longer to dry, and I didn't want you having to listen to the dryer. So that's my starting point in preparation. Thank you, Tanya. Yeah, I'd like to see them on fabric. I will do. Somebody's asked me to show you how I did them, which is just incredible to me because I just was messing around in my normal messing around way. If you haven't shared already, could you share the feed out for me? I'm going to adjust the level of the camera and point it down. I can still see your messages on my laptop, but that way you'll be able to see what I'm doing. Okay, so just give me a sec while I adjust the camera. I did practice this earlier to make sure it would be all right. It's always a pain of how to get the best angle, and the one around my neck is pretty good, except for it makes it really hard for me to see what I'm doing because it's in the way. So I'm hoping that's not too bad, and I will bring it up close to you when we need to. So today's project is about a Cherokee quote. It came up the other night on something I was watching, and I really liked it, and I looked it up, and it's an old story that was told to a grandchild, I believe, that was struggling with the sort of inner battles in themselves, and the grandfather told the child that everyone has two wolves inside of them. It's the tale of two wolves, the good one and the bad one, and they are constantly fighting. And the grandchild asked, well, who wins? And the grandfather said very wisely, the one that you feed. And I really liked that. So this is going to be the moon. We've got to work on the background first, and I've cut out the quote, the one that you feed. I've also got, I bought a packet of tags ready-made, like card tags, and it's plain on the back. So last night I printed out the story in more detail, and I'm going to stick it to the back. And I thought, because this isn't particularly black and white, I might do exactly what I've been talking about and alter this and change this into black and white. And I have created on my next page, at the moment, I've stuck these down, so there's a pocket, and I think the flowers are going to go over the top of that. That's fine, but this little tag will sit like that in the pocket. Can you see that? And then I've got a couple of black and white feathers, and I shall make a little string just to make sure that you know it's there and it's to do with it, and it tells you the story of what's going on. So that's the plan. That's what we're going to be working on today. So I don't know how far we'll get, but we'll have a go. So first of all, I'm going to be working on background. So this side is obviously the darker side. This is obviously the lighter, but we're going to go with some grey in the middle. I've just been using for these like 3 tones, the grey, Amelia, Black Melody and Kaya. So now I've got water spray. It doesn't matter about my... Has anyone ever done a journal? I know Fiona has. I really like the idea. I've done some baby ones before for people that have just had a new baby, and they are a lot of work. So they're kind of one of those things that's like, I wouldn't want to sell it because it's too much, but for a personal thing, they're really nice. The scrabbling that you can hear in the background is my cat trying to get in the room. Yeah. She's like the devil, this cat. Wherever you tell her she can't go, that's the place she wants to go more than anywhere else in the world. Okay, so we're starting off very, as you can see, in my usual slapdashy way. Now I'm going to use a rag to mop some of it up, help with some of the blending. It should also speed some of the drying up. I was really tempted to spray this, but then I thought I'm just going to get it everywhere and spray all the rest. You've all gone very quiet. Where are you? This is one of those things I think that's really nice to just pick up every now and again when you get an idea in your head. So you can always prep pages ahead of time. And it could take several years to grow, but I think it would be special, better than a photo album in a way, because you've given thought to it. And I want this to have actual memories, but also sort of spiritual messages, things that make me think. It might even have music, references to music I like or artists I like. It's just going to represent. That's the idea. And because each page is different, we can try all sorts of different techniques. I've got to do some image transfer on some of them. Let that cat in, yeah? She's a devil. I'm going to hold this up close for you in a sec and you'll see. I'm doing a little bit of corruption on the page, but because it's all going to be black and white, it should be not too bad. So this is where we're at so far. And the texture's really helping, and I'm going to get some more white in it. But I'm going to just quickly dry that off, and it shouldn't take long because I've obviously blotted most of it. Believe me, she does not have an artistic input. She climbs in all the art drawers, knocks everything over. She's really good at that. Right, now I think I'm going to probably need, but I'm going to do it with a pen, like a white line to go over the top to highlight this. So I need a lot more white coming in, as you can see. But first of all, I'm going to get these stuck into place. So I'm going to just use Quick Stick. She's actually my oldest cat. I don't know how old she is, 14 or 15. She's quite old, and also she's quite thin. She looks like she's lost weight, and sometimes I look at her and think, oh, she hasn't got long to go. And yet, when she's on a mad one, she caught a mouse last year. She was under the trampoline, and then it was like friggin' Wimbledon. She was just from one side to the other, batting it around. And she does that around the house. She charges round. It's lovely to see. She's still got her spirit. So I've literally printed and cut these up even. I thought I'd like to just try and paint a little bit over the top of them, which is what I did with my photograph. My photograph actually started off colour, but obviously by the time I've finished, it's become black and white. But it really is quite easy to just paint over the top, and you can see where you've got to paint. And I'm just using really loose brushes, but it's going to kind of make the picture more your own, and it's quite hard to go wrong. Just putting in your brush strokes, contamination. That's what I did with my portrait. So if you've never done a portrait before, definitely have a go at doing it like this. Print it out, black and white. And you'll be amazed. Because you can see, this really isn't taking very long. And it's starting to look like it's been painted. I'm literally using the colouring that it's giving me. Is this cheating? Maybe. This boy's almost all black, so he's obviously supposed to be the bad boy. Hi Jaina, it's a new name to me. Don't know where you've seen me, but it'd be nice to let me know. Doing a bit of journaling today. It's the tale of two wolves. I like that idea, that we all have good and bad in us, and that we can choose to feed one or the other. So every time we have a bad day and we recognise we're feeding the wrong wolf, we can go, no, I'm not going to do that. You can see what I've done is just so simple and taken minutes, really. And yet now, look, they look pretty hand painted, don't they? Isn't that cool? So I want to put some more white in the moon. I suppose it's a bit yin and yang. It's a really easy way of doing it, Louise. Cut out a picture, paint it. And I thought, why not? I can do that a lot. So, let's just leave that to dry a sec, and I'm going to do the back of my, this is my little story. And it says, there are two wolves fighting inside all of us. The first one is evil, the second one is good. Which wolf will win? The one you feed. Karaoke. I'm just going to stick it on the back of my tag. Again, prick stick. Absolutely fine. Now, I like to ink up edges, and I'll probably do the same on my picture when it's dried off a bit. So I'm just going to use Stays On, because once it's on and it doesn't smudge. Just to go around the edges, and I kind of want to age it up a bit, that's fine. I might even smear a bit of paint on it afterwards, we'll see. But it just kind of looks cool, I think you'll agree. So then on the other side, at the moment, it's colour. So I'm going to do exactly the same as what I've just done with these walls. Hi, Carla. And I'm going to paint them. So if you missed it, Carla, these were cut out, painted walls, and I've literally, pictures of walls, and I've literally just painted over them using 3 colours. And I'm going to do the same with my roses, so it ties in. So I'll start off with the middle colour, grey in this case, and I just go and find all what I call the middle tone of my picture, and just block it in. Simple as that. Don't really feel like you can go wrong. Okay, I'll do the same with the bottom one. And I'll go in with the white and find the highlights. And you know, if it does go wrong and it doesn't look like a rose, then I'll just paint over the whole thing. Doesn't really matter. I just thought I'd give it a go. Rose probably wasn't the best starting point, especially when you're trying to do it quick. Let's see. And I can always go back in with a pen as well to sort of put some detail in. But obviously we know that roses are like just layers and layers of petals that are going round. So my head, that seems fairly straightforward. My leaf. So my music stopped, isn't it? Back that in a minute. Get back in, get some grey. You're going to be thinking, what on earth is she doing? Looks like crap. It does a bit. Oh dear. Bless me for trying. Hey, I'm going to use a pen to sort this out because it will work. I'm determined. From Bolton. Oh dear. There are so many people with really horrible lurgies out there at the moment. My daughter's not 100% either. And they seem to be ones that are like really hanging around and taking ages to go, and you're not the first person that's told me they're feeling dizzy with it either. Horrible. Get better. there is, for those of you that have never joined me before, there's a link at the top. It's not too bad. There's a link at the top to our Fairy Chic Club, and it is a membership subscription club, but the cheapest membership's only £6, which is an absolute bargain. And for that you get all sorts of tutorials and discounts on products, including Fairy Chic stuff. So it's well worth a look, and the link is at the top. Now what I'm doing now is using Fairy Chic gesso as a kind of neutraliser, because if you remember from previous tutorials that I've done, gesso is better than white paint at fading things down so that you can still see behind, but neutralising it. I think that's the best word. And because this is in colour and I don't want it in colour, I'm neutralising it so that you can still see. I'll hold it up close to you. Hopefully you can still see that. Can you still see that? You can see some of the writing, so it's not completely lost on it, whereas if you put white paint on, it would. And you can put gesso on with your finger or with a brush, and you can layer it up too. It's really good for stiffening up fragile paper, so that will work in favour of this at the same time. So I'm just sort of dotting it around because I want to sort of get rid of as much as I can of the colour, so I'll use the brush to get in the details. Right, I promise you this rose will come to fruition once I get my pen work in there. So I'm liking that a lot better already. So I'm going to do the same with this side and ink up the edges to give a black outline. It's all a bit wet and messy now, and get my fingers everywhere, but and again when it's dry I'll go back in with the pen. But now it's tying in with the whole wolf story, and it's going to be a tag that goes in the pocket that I've created behind, so that's quite cool. So I'll leave that to dry a bit. So this is the Fairy Chic gesso, and I think it's £4.50 on my website. I've also got, which I've used on this, Fairy Chic textured paste, which is what I've used for the moon. And I need to just dry them off a little bit so that I can get more in, so you can see the moon better. Yeah, Louise, you've been poorly as well. Your family have all had it, haven't they? It's that time of year. I normally get it Christmas Day. Hey, that's my dark wolf talking. The cynical bar humbug in me. Stop that. Right, so I'm going to use, Karen Smith, are you watching? I used this yesterday, first time, my Posca pens that you lovely lady sent me. And they are brilliant. So it was worth going on and on about them. And believe me, I went on and on about them until somebody sent me some. And she did. Now these are just paint pens, they're called Posca pens. They are a bit pricey, but they're well worth it. So I'm going to just outline my wolf so that you can see. Needs a bit of a halo, I think, probably. He's fighting good and bad. So that's worked quite well. Oh, Shaz, do you need any more kind of illness? I don't think so. Right, let's get some music going. Don't know what's happened. There we go. So I'm going to do the same around the moon. So I'm literally just painting, drawing even. I think that makes quite a difference, considerable difference. I'll do a little bit around the bottom of this wolf. If anybody wants the pictures of these wolves, I mean, you can look them up, but I have obviously got them. I can put them on in my art group, make it quicker for you if you want to have a go. Let's make a planet. So, yeah, it's looking quite good, quite like that. But I've also got a black Posca. Let's have a look. And I'm like, nothing is usually all the way around the same, is it? Go in with some. The Posca gives a really strong colour on top of it all. Obviously I've used chalk paint for the main colouring and picture, but the Posca really does help with and then I've got my, and I did wonder about cutting the words up, but I think I might just leave them as they are. And again, I think I probably want to ink them, but I should probably do that with a Posca pen rather than ink, because I'm likely to smudge it everywhere. So I'm going to I might just trim them down a little bit because they're a bit fat. Again, I just printed this off on the printer using the font I chose. Sort of got the page up near it so I could work out how big it could be. But I am just using Prick Slip. You could use PVA or Mod Podge or matte finish. I probably will matte finish the whole thing afterwards just to protect it. There we are, which one will win? Look, nobody's told me. It's the wrong way round! Good grief. The name Fairy Chic Emporium started off rather ridiculously as what was it? Shabby chic, rustic, steampunk emporium, because we liked all of it and couldn't decide what we wanted to do. So we thought we'd have a wide open name, and then everyone just couldn't remember it, even though I can't remember it. So I really like fairies. I've always liked fairies, and as a child, fairy is definitely going to be featuring in this journal. I used to have this crazy belief. I used to love the fairy flowers stories, and I've still got the book. And I used to believe that I had the dandelion fairy. I always liked the wild one, the one that everybody else called a weed, I suppose. But that was my fairy, and I used to recite the story of the dandelion fairy and then believe it was the fairy would come to me and sit in my hand, like you do. Anyway, so I was chatting with hubby and said, oh, I really want a name with fairy in it. And he said, well, why don't you call it Fairy Chic? Because it kind of sounds like very chic, which at the time we were doing a lot of shabby chic stuff. And that fitted, and then I could have my fairy. And then I got my son involved in all the designing of the fairy. And actually, it's, as a business name, it's held me well because it stands out, because it is a bit different, but also it's allowed me to develop and change the direction that I've wanted to go in as I've gone along without having to sort of re-credit and rename myself, because that would have been a real pain. I think when you sort of call yourself Shabby Chic Furniture or something, you're stuck with it, and then all you can do is furniture, and it might not be what you want to do forever. But yeah, that's where, and I just kind of love the whole magical, mythical. I'm using the Posca just because you've got a little bit more control to get some of the detail in. How cool is that? Is that cool? So I've got to go back to my tag, and I shall use the Posca again just to try to bring some of the detail in so that you don't lose faith in my ability to paint over flowers. I think it really only has to be a suggestion. I'm going with that. It's a suggestion of a leaf and a rose, and if you can't see it, well, you know. Pretty cool. And I actually think because the existing drawing is underneath, you can't completely lose it anyway. And it doesn't look too bad, look. Really doesn't. So I've got a little hole I need to poke out in the paper that I put in behind. So I've got a ribbon, a bit of black ribbon. Just going to poke it through the hole if I can. There we are. Now I've got two feathers. I'm not quite sure. I might have to end up hot gluing. Actually, that might be better put through like that, mightn't it? I'm just feeding it through. So it looks quite nice. And I did want to, just reminds me a little bit cherry-oaky. I might have to hot glue that on to stick that, but I think you get the idea. So this tag will sit, hang on, got glue everywhere, sit behind the book like that. And I will attach these, I haven't got the hot glue out, so I will attach these so that they fall down into the page to remind me that I've got a tag. So the last thing really is just the doodling, and again I'm going to use the Posca pens, and I'm just going to do some arrows to show me where that there's something I need to look at. And this really is just random doodling, but I quite like random doodling. And I think alter it. You could just leave it as it was. I'll show you it close up in just a minute. I hope you'll have a go at this little kind of idea. It's just really fun to mess around. If you want to learn how to make this book, you need to join my club. There's a tutorial in there that's free for you to watch. We should probably have some stars, shouldn't we? Let's just sort of fill in the negative space as well as the positive space, but because it's a journal, we can do all sorts. I've got all sorts of ideas of different techniques on different pages, so it'll be just really interesting to go through afterwards. We can do some collaging. So we're going to do some image transfer, layering, do some crackling. We're going to I'm chucking everything at it. I want to have a go. So, and because you can do something different every day, I'm going to show you this close up. It looks really cool. I might just put a bit of black in here. I do like my dots. So all I've needed to do this, other than obviously the book itself, which I've created myself, is black and white Posca pens. I've used gesso, textured paste, and then the 3 colours of Very Chic paint, black, white and grey. And look, see, even here, this looks better for being scribbly, not perfect. See? It's just outlining. So there we have. Doesn't the doodling just make a bit of difference? You see that? And I just outlined my walls, but they are now hand painted. They look like they're hand painted. And I just think they look better like that, and it really wasn't very hard. And the scribbling, and then obviously just the extra touch of the tag that I just need to fix the feathers to. That page will be completely covered that's my starting point for that page, and I've cut it out specifically to cover it, so obviously I won't glue, so you can still get the tag out. And then this page will work on the double page with that. So it's just going to, and I have to go sort of through the book, because as you can see, the other pages, some of these pages are very, very thin. That's from like a vintage magazine, but that's going to need quite a few layers of gesso to strengthen it up. But that's going to make quite a nice double page because they're the same size. So I should do something there. But then these pages are different sizes. I've used craft paper. These have been sewed in place. So it's all random, which I like, and it's random colours, but I'm going to be black and whitening them out. But I just like the sort of the quirkiness of it, really. So I'll pick different pages and then prep them when I get a moment, like with the gesso. Like that has actually been gessoed, but I've decided I'm going to cover over it. That's today's. Really like it. And then this was mine my first one, and I did this in the same way, a photograph of myself, and put it's all about the journey. And I've put this word fragile here, and it wasn't really because I was feeling totally fragile. I looked up, I had some labels about postage stampy labels, so that it had handled with care, and one of them was fragile, and it stuck out in my mind because I was quite young here, and obviously I had quite a sad childhood, and my parents were splitting up, which was quite rare in that generation, and so I did feel a bit fragile, and I thought it's appropriate, so I'm going to stick it in, but it doesn't mean I'm a wreck, it just means it's all about the journey, and that was kind of the starting point of this book, and there's going to be lots of highs and lows as we go through my story, and things that inspire me to think about how I react to things or whatever, and I really like that. I hope you'll join me on the journey. Yeah, they are cornflowers, Shaz, my style of cornflowers. Yeah, I will. It will go stiffer again if I matte finish it, absolutely. And because I've used the Posca pens, and the ink on the print out here will have dried overnight, so it shouldn't reactivate it. It should stiffen it again. The gesso in itself stiffens it, and it has had gesso on it. But yeah, matte finish will help once again, and it will protect it all. So that is today's little live for you. I hope you enjoyed it. We're nearly at time, but I shall come up with something different for next week. I believe I've got Louise doing a live on Monday, all being well. She hasn't been very well, but she's going to be doing a live on my page. So I'm not sure what time. Louise, have you booked a time? I can't remember. Post it if you're there. And I will no doubt see you again next Thursday, unless you join us in the club, and the link for that is at the top. So see you then. Thanks very much.